Hello, Mishpucha, it's Courtney, America's Jewish Mother. Welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, so it's time for another Friday Reads video, and I have to do this relatively quickly because I have a Zoom meeting at noon. So I finished 2 books this week, and I'm currently reading 5 or 6 books. Someone will help me decide. So let's go. So the first book I finished this week was Sylvia Plaths' Ariel. I've already left a sort of ranty review about the parts of this I found deeply offensive. I'll post that link below in case you want to watch it. So I'm not going to say too much about this. Also, I feel that I should be cheerier and less negative. So yeah, I gave this book 2 stars. I can understand why people like it. I think when you hear the poems read aloud, they sound nice. There is a nice rhythm and cadence to them. Plath uses a lot of alliteration and assonance. So I understand why people would like the sound of these poems, but I personally could not get past the offensive content of some of them. Also felt that they tended to lack focus and cohesiveness. So yeah, so 2 stars, and again, that's all I'm going to say about this. If you want to hear me say more about it, go watch my video that I posted the other day, which I will link down below. The second book I finished this week, which I do not have here with me because I listened to it as an audiobook, but this was The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. I did this as a buddy read with Raina of Rainier Books. And we both quite enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really liked it overall. It has, I think, 9 short stories in it. Most of the stories are either about relationships that are not sanctioned by the church. So, for example, extramarital affairs or like lesbian relationships. Or the stories tend to also be about family relationships and especially mother-daughter relationships. So that's kind of like the overall themes of the stories. Again, I quite like this collection overall. I found the stories for the most part quite well crafted. It did have some problems with a few of the stories. So for example, there's one in the collection called Not Daniel that's only like 5 or 6 pages long, and I felt like that was not really long enough. And then there's another story called How to Make Love to a Physicist that's told in 2nd person, and I did not find the use of 2nd person there as effective as it was in another story, which is called Instructions for Married Christian Husbands. That one I quite liked. And then there was one other story in the collection called Jael, which I liked the sort of point of the story, but I felt like it lacked subtlety. Like Deesha Philyaw pretty much spelled out every single thing she wanted you to know, and I was like, no, you don't have to do this, no. But yeah, otherwise, again, a very strong debut collection, and I will be very excited to see what Deesha Philyaw writes next, and I will definitely pick up something else by her. Most of the stories I quite enjoyed overall. Probably my favorites were, I really liked Instructions for Married Christian Husbands. I really liked this story at the end called When Eddie Levert Comes, which is about a family mother-daughter kind of relationship. And I really liked the story Dear Sister, which is also about family relationships. The other thing I quite enjoyed about this collection is that it really centers on the lives and loves of Black Southern women who have grown up in religious households. And while I obviously can't relate to everything that Deesha Philyaw is talking about in these collections, because I did grow up in the South, and I have lived in the geographical U.S. South my entire life, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. A lot of the references, cultural references and geographical references that Deesha Philyaw makes in this collection, I understood and got and like really related to, and so I also really enjoyed that aspect of this collection. So yeah, very, very Southern. And even when I didn't exactly 100% relate to things that were going on, I still definitely kind of recognized them, and they had a sort of familiarity to me. So yeah, again, really good. The hype on this one is real. I would read it if you like short stories, especially if you enjoy stories about relationships, either romantic or familial. So yeah, again, I will look forward to seeing what Deesha Philyaw writes next. So 4 stars. So I'm currently reading 5 or 6 books. You can be the judge. So I'm still reading Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. This is a buddy read with Kelly of books I'm not reading. I am so close to being done. So I just have, I think, fewer than 20 pages of an epilogue to read, and then there's a bunch of poems at the end. And then I'll be done. So that's exciting. Melissa of Fully Booked and I are still buddy reading Moby-Dick. We're checking in again tomorrow. I need to catch up because we're supposed to read through chapter 45, and I don't think I've read any more since last Saturday, so need to get on that. But yeah, I'm still entertained. Maybe not quite as entertained as I was before, but you know, we'll see how it goes now that they're out at sea. And yeah, they're out at sea, so we're gonna see what happens. So that's still happening. I also am still reading Thomas Hardy's Return of the Native. I actually made significant progress in that book this week. Last week when I checked in, I was only a third of the way into it, and I hadn't picked it up in over a week. And this week, I am 75% done. So I'm going to make it. I'm going to finish this book by the end of January. And I'm going to be glad that I'm finished because this one has been a little bit of a slog, not going to lie. I also just started rereading recently Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, which makes me so happy. This book is amazing. Morrison can write so well. I'm only not quite even 40 pages in, but I really remember like why I loved this book so much. And yeah, the writing is just beautiful, and you just know when you pick up a Morrison novel, you're like, yes, I'm in good hands. Similarly, I just started reading Philip Roth's Goodbye Columbus. So Goodbye Columbus is sort of like a novella, and then this also includes 5 short stories. So I'm going to call this a short story collection, even though, again, the title one is a novella. So I'm only about 30 pages into this, but again, you know, as soon as you start reading this, you're like, yes, this man can write. I am in good hands. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure that I like the main character of Goodbye Columbus, but you know, we're gonna see where the story goes. So, and then the last book that I started reading, but I'm unsure about, so you can help me decide if I should continue or not. So I started, and by the way, this is a book that I'm so unsure about. I haven't even put it on Goodreads that I'm currently reading it. So. But I got the audiobook from my library of Edwidge Danticat's Krak, which is a collection of short stories. And I listened to the first story last night while I was making dinner, and oh my gosh, y'all, it was really rough. And I don't know, I'm just not sure that I'm up for that level of just absolute brutality and just like really messed up stuff that's happening. It's not that the story was bad or anything. It's just that I don't know that I can handle that right now. So if you've read Krak, are the rest of the stories like that? Because I have a sinking suspicion that they might be. And if that's the case, I think I might have to just put this aside for the time being and maybe come back to it later on in the year. Especially because I'm still reading some sort of heftier tomes. I mean, I'm going to be done with Dr. Zhivago soon, thank God. But, you know, and I'm also going to be done with Return of the Native soon. Again, good. But, you know, I'm still reading Moby-Dick. The Bluest Eye is fairly heavy subject matter, even though it's a reread for me. And I am enjoying it, even as it's, you know, going to be tougher reading as I go on. And yeah, and Goodbye Columbus is also, I mean, it's not exactly light literary fiction. So yeah, I'm just not sure I'm up for something that heavy right now. So yeah, if you have read Krak, please let me know if all of the stories have that same level of just like utter brutality and despair as the first one, because again, if that's the case, I think I might just have to put this one aside for right now. So that's it. That's everything I either finished this week or am currently reading. If you have thoughts about any of these books, please feel free to let me know that down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. I hope you're doing good reading whatever you're reading. And until next time, would it kill you to call your mother?